There's my biggest Pikes Peak sunflower. This past week it has hosted a swallowtail butterfly, eastern swallowtail I think, and a hummingbird. I think it's a female ruby-throated hummingbird who's been hanging around here all summer. And right now it just has some bees on it. It's about, not counting the petals, it's about, I'm saying 10 inches across. And it's still opening, so it might make it to a foot or more. And the other sunflowers are opening. The only one that's not is this one that came up itself, which I think is a Russian mammoth. The other two Pikes Peaks that are really big are about 10 feet tall, or maybe 11. This one's about 12 feet tall now. Did stop growing finally. I have to be careful when I step in the garden because there is at least one toad living here, and possibly two. There might be another one living out back. And I was wondering why I was hearing this sudden jump every time I would step into the garden, and the other day I saw what the problem was. But anyway, here's the other sunflowers. This one's the shortest of the three tall ones, and this one you can't see the flower on because there's a leaf in the way. And that one may even get a little, well, as tall as the 12-foot one. I was surprised. These seem to keep growing after the buds start to form, so. Okay, somewhere while I'm in here, I should look for the one little pumpkin. It's a Weirdo Pumpkin, and I'm not sure it's going to make it. The Weirdo Pumpkin seems to hold, I can't find it. Seems to hold one young pumpkin to every one it drops. And this one seemed to stop growing yesterday in spite of all the rain. Yes, it is raining again, finally. Whoop. Whoa, dude. Let's see here, something loosened here. Let me try to, well, that's not going to help. Alright, well, here we go. Yeah, that is not growing. Which disturbs me a little. Okay. Alright, why can this camera never... There we go. It's pretty small. It's a little over fist size, and it's starting to lighten up. And I haven't seen it grow, as I said. So, I'm going to lose it probably. Alright, I'm going to have to be really, really careful here. I don't want to step on the toad. Toads are good. If you ever see a toad in your garden, do everything you can to make it comfortable because they do eat bugs. And if you don't want bugs, you want a toad. There we go. Alright, we've had several ripe tomatoes. Even more ripening now. It's going to get to a point where I'm going to have to go to the food pantry and donate some, which is good. And let's see what we got here. One of these days I think I'm just going to pick this one pepper. This is a bell pepper. It's getting large. It's not, I can never get those to ripen, so I think I'm just going to pick it. And over here, orchid pepper, Mad Hatter pepper, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what those look like when they're ripe. I have forgotten, so I'll have to look it up online. I think they turn yellow or orange or something. And here's our eggplants. This is a bunch of flowers from a lettuce. I let them go to seed because they come back on their own in the spring, which is kind of nice. Yeah. Got eggplants here. 3 of them. The plant is looking to bloom again, I think. But it's kind of late. They take so long forming that I think anything that forms now would not would not have a chance to grow before the first frost. There's our kaleette. I'm going to look up whether we can eat the leaves because we sure aren't getting any flowers out of that thing. And more orchid peppers and some spinach. That is an Indian plant from India called climbing spinach or Malabar spinach. You can cook it like spinach and it will hold good flavor through the heat, which most greens will not. And our summer is not quite over here yet. However, most of the pumpkins here you see are dying. These are rivals that are dying back, and the plant that's taking over is see the narrow leaves there? That's the Weirdo Pumpkin. We do have two actively growing Weirdo Pumpkins in the garden, and one, as I said, stopped growing. And I'm suspecting I'm going to lose it. There's a few more pumpkin buds here. Female flower. There we go. There's a little bud on the bottom of there. It's a female flower. I think a leaf is in the way, so you can't see it. And here is a Weirdo Pumpkin that is starting to ripen. Not a very big one. There we go. Nice little pie pumpkin. Let's see. First prize, which is a Maxima. It's mixed in here. Seems to be making an effort to set a fruit. And Maximas, once this fruit sets, they can grow very, very fast. So I'm hoping it will succeed, but I'm not placing a lot of faith in it. Let's put it that way. Here we go. Well, this camera just wants to take a little trip today, so let's do this. Well, it's in there. Let's put my hand in there. Well, there's a couple little pumpkin buds. Three, as a matter of fact. So we are very determined here. There we go. We'll see what happens. At least we'll get maybe a 20-pounder or something out of there. And like I said, the rain spigot is turned back on after being off for 6 or 7 weeks. Too late to save the garden, really, but we didn't have a bad year. There are still some... this thing is really loose. There are still some rival pumpkin vines that are very much alive. So we'll see if they do anything. But I'm not placing a lot of faith in it at this point. It all seems to be the Weirdo Pumpkin and First Prize doing all the work right now. And here's the biggest pumpkin remaining in the garden. It's totally green, and it's still growing as far as I can see. There we go. I don't know if I have it or not. How this camera can miss things when I'm putting the lens right on top of the subject, I don't know. But there it is, if you can see it. That's going to be a good 20-pounder. It does look like it may be ripening a little bit. And you know what? I'm thinking that's a rival now, because I don't see any weirdo leaves around it. So that might be the last rival. And I've given up on... There we go. Totally given up on these little guys here. Moose, big moose. And over here we have one. These squash bugs are all over the place. I'm going to have to get something and kill them today. We have one sweet dumpling squash, just one. The rest of them all died on me. So I guess I'll keep that for myself and make a little meal out of it. Yeah, I gave up on Big Moose, and I'll probably never grow that again. Next year, Renegade, which is Rival's replacement, and what's the other one? Champion, which is a Peppo, not a Maxima, but it grows to about, well, over 30 pounds. And Champion will be on one end of the garden, and Renegade will be on the other. So they're both medium vine, so we'll see how they do. Okay, this is another Weirdo Pumpkin down here. It may have been pollinated today. Okay. Alright, let's go in the garage and see our harvest. Okay, this will be +2 because I've given 2 of them away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So that's 17 and 18 rivals out of 6 or 7 vines. And 2, well, now that I've redone this, there's only 2 Weirdo Pumpkins out there. So maybe 1 Weirdo Pumpkin, because the other one doesn't seem to be growing anymore. And there is a bud out there. So, yeah, that's where we are today. So, pretty much the end of our rival harvest, but I'm looking forward to seeing how that huge one turns out. And if that huge one turns out nice, I will give this one that I have the camera on away. That's the biggest one so far. It's a pretty good size. And I will keep that one. So anyway, that's where we are this week. See you next week.